Hello, hello, everybody. Today we are joined by Scotty Brizzle, comedian, carnivore, and all-round legend, also supermarket terrorist, which we'll get into. This is an interesting one because Scotty, we did a podcast and a YouTube video 2 years ago. So this is the 2-year anniversary of Dr. Chafee and I interviewing Scotty, and I think I'd like to say that really helped push Scotty Brizzle out into the mainstream, and help launch him as this carnivore comedian. So, Scotty, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. And dude, I've got to say thank you. Thank you so much for that interview because that really did pop things off for me. And the collaborations on Instagram, all that sort of stuff, man. And you're just charging at the front line for this movement, man. And you're helping so many people and lifting up so many accounts that are starting to find this sort of way of living and the positive effects it can have. So, dude, good on you, and thank you so much.
You're a good man, Scotty. Thank you. Yeah, I see my mission as trying to pump up these up and coming carnivore influencers who have their own unique take on the carnivore diet. And like I saw that in you straight away. I was like, oh, someone's going to be using comedy and carnivore. It's not the super scientific dry stuff, and it's not the like meathead jacked guy being like eat meat. Someone's actually coming at this with a bit of humor. But now your stuff is also so well researched. So if for anyone
Mm.
who isn't following Scotty on Instagram, go check him out. Scotty will do a mountain of research and then he'll teach you about the origins of seed oils, or he'll teach you who Rockefeller was. He'll go deep into these specific topics and you'll come out of it very entertained, but also with this new knowledge. So
Oh,
that's
man,
powerful, Scotty.
thanks, dude. Because it is a mission when you do so much research and you got to condense that to a minute or a minute and a half. And it looks like, oh yeah, it's just a video, but you've
Mm.
spent the last week educating yourself on dietary guidelines and who Ansel Keys were or who Weston A. Price was. And it's like there's so much out there that it is my mission to try and condense a lot of that stuff into a more palatable sort of like little quick little snippet just so you can get a brief overview of like what's going on in that world.
Yeah, well, it's working. So Scotty, for those who don't know you, let's talk a bit through your health journey because I know that you've had some serious struggles early days. Now you're thriving, but talk me through what the journey you've been on.
Yeah, man. So I sort of kick things off quite like we could go back to birth because it's all where it sort of started, but we'll skip a lot of that. But I had a pretty rough sort of coming into this world, and preemie, C-section baby, sick, all this sort of stuff. And it got to the point like, so I grew up on a standard Western diet. And, like most of us, we had parents that weren't really educated in this sort of stuff, this in the field of health and wellness. And I I thought I could get away with it for, forever. And it took until my 20s for it to really, really start. So I had gut issues for a while, but sort of when I hit my mid 20s, that's when I sort of like hit the wall splat. And man, I developed just issues up to the wazoo. So I had a lot of autoimmune stuff that was still sort of undiagnosed, but we can get to that. But a lot of gut issues, a lot of joint issues, mental health issues, skin problems. Yeah, it's just one thing after another. And it sort of, I guess, sort of manifested in certain ways of like, okay, it was IBS or SIBO. There was potential Crohn's involved. There was, yeah, that because I was getting bounced around from doctor to doctor. And so I didn't really actually stick around to find out to get a full diagnosis. So I still to this day don't even really know what's going on. There was Hashimoto's thrown around. There was a few things, but I still don't know. It's a bit of a mystery, but all I do know is that I tried to go down a few different paths, the naturopath route, the plant-based route, the every diet you could possibly, do, and nothing could help. Nothing could help. My symptoms only got worse. I was basically a walking rash who had diarrhea constantly, hives, dermatitis, acne.
Mm.
um, aching joints, anxiety and depression. It was just one thing after another, man.
Jeez.
And it wasn't until I come across Sean Baker's podcast with Rogan,
Mm.
and that's when I first heard about this carnivore diet.
I just want to jump in, Scotty. So
Mm,
it's interesting how many symptoms you're getting, and then you're getting sort of thrown at all these potential diagnoses.
hmm
Like, oh, it could be IBS, or it could be Crohn's, or it could be a number of different autoimmune conditions. But essentially, your whole body is just sort of failing, and
Correct.
it just can't be healthy. You're getting sicker and sicker, and really, any specific diagnosis it wouldn't have changed anything for you because you would have just
Mm,
gotten put on a specific type of meds that would have had to be increased and increased and increased with increasing side effects, but you never would have gotten to the root cause. So it's just fascinating where it's like often these diagnoses, it's just like, what's the first thing to really break? And
hmm
like the first thing that just gets completely screwed up, and it's like, bang, okay, you've got Crohn's. But these issues were lingering for a long time and
hmm
just boiling, like, like the frog in boiling water, just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, oh, 100%, man. And I remember as a teenager having acid reflux so bad, I went to the like family GP and they put me on Pariet. Pariet's a proton pump inhibitor. So it reduces the acidity in the stomach and reduces like essential things that are supposed to be breaking down your food.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. How are you going to digest food?
And I was on this stuff for, oh man, years and years. And it wasn't until one day I just opened up the leaflet and I just had a little read of it. And it said that you're only supposed to be on this medication for 3 months. And I was on it for years, and I know it definitely destroyed a lot of my ability to digest my food. I couldn't tolerate fat at all. Fat just, it would just run straight through me, which is funny because I'm on a high fat carnivore diet now, and yeah, absolutely thriving. But it took a long time because I was taking a lot of digestive enzymes to just digest anything, basically. But yeah, so I look back on that and I see that a doctor that was just trying to help me made it a lot worse, and that was one of the big starts of digestive issues. And because antibiotics was another thing, always on antibiotics, getting sick and stuff like that. So these things, they do stack up, and like you were saying, it eventually just sort of explodes, and you've just got a cascade of problem, and you don't know what to pinpoint, you don't know where to start, you just want to get better.
100%.
um,
Scotty, what happened at the naturopath? Because I know that there are some naturopaths that really know their stuff and,
mm.
and, and quite a few that are embracing carnivore as well. So did you get anywhere going to a naturopath?
So a lot of the ones that I've seen several naturopaths, and there was I recall because I was big on bacon and eggs back then, even before I did carnivore, before I even heard about carnivore, I was doing bacon and eggs, and I remember a naturopath just being concerned about the fat content, cholesterol, but also worried about specific things like the nitrates that can be found in bacon, and other additives and that kind of stuff. But man, overall, they basically all of them basically pushed supplements. They basically pushed sort of a plant-based diet, but they didn't sort of shut down meat. They weren't saying don't eat meat, but obviously plants were the priority.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's what I prioritized. I was having these massive, massive big salads filled with spinach and kale and things like onion and garlic and three forms of lettuce and carrot and like everything you can think of, just like this big pile. Because I thought the bigger I could get my pile of salad, the quicker I was going to get healthier and the better I was going to feel. But I only just experienced worse issues after that. So once I had a few of these experiences, I sort of got to the point where, look, these naturopaths, I respect what they're doing, and that give me all these powdered supplements of like, yeah, and things that I feel do great for some people, but like, like what is it, like slippery elm, um quercetin, berberine,
Yeah.
all these different kinds of compounds that are, come from a plant. That was their thing. They were like, this is medicine, this is going to fix you. But I could just never find reprieve. I could never get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this feels good. My gut feels like it's getting some relief, like no matter what. Um, so that was a tricky one, and then that's when I went to sort of more so specialists and doctors, and then but yeah, then you get bounced around there for quite a I think I did that for a couple of years as well. It was a long time. It felt like forever, especially when you're sick, you know. Um, and yeah, I just remember sitting in the doctor's office, and I had my whole supplement regime because I did a lot of research around this as well. Like I had a lot of initiative to obviously try and get better. And so I sort of wrote out my protocol and I was showing it to my doctor of like what I think. And he's like, yep, that's great. That's fine. And yeah, you're just gonna have to pretty much keep on these supplements until you get better. And there was this sort of penny drop moment where I was like, oh, wait a second, this guy doesn't really, he's not really connected with my health or really care because he's just pumping patients out because he's just doing his job. It's just the way the system's set up. Um, but I just had this moment, like this deep realization. I'm like, I got to figure this out on my own. So what am I doing here, spending $400 a session when I'm getting nowhere? And and yeah, so then back to the carnivore. I heard about carnivore on Baker's podcast, but I ignored it. I thought that was just absolutely madness, and I couldn't connect the dots,
Yeah.
this where I am now and how healthy I am now. I just couldn't connect those dots to be like, okay, eating only meat will improve my gut health. It'll improve my skin. It will improve my joints. It will improve my mental health. It will literally take away my chronic diarrhea that I've had for a year straight eating only plants. And it took me a couple years after that. So it was like a couple years after I heard initially about carnivore and I heard about Michaela Peterson's journey. And that is what really hit home because I could relate so much. I could some of the things she talked about, I was like just listing them off like that's what I got, that's what I got, that's what I got. And I thought, you know what, let's just give it a try. And it still took me another couple years after that to give it a full stint because I would try it for a week and I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, a week will be long enough. And because I was such a foodie, right?
Yeah.
Foodie. And and I was just addicted to shit. But yeah, man, like it took me another couple of years to be where I am now. And I'm coming up almost what a bit over 2.5. So coming up to 3 years in July, I'll be yeah, I've done carnival for 3 years. So man, it's been such a journey. It's been such a journey, and it's honestly saved my life, man. Like it's absolute game changer. And like I just thinking of it now, I had a few messages. I woke up this morning, because when you make content around this sort of stuff, people reach out to ask for help that are in the same boat. And this gentleman asked me about Sibo because I know how bad Sibo can get. That can be a nightmare. And this poor guy had Sibo and well, has got Sibo, and he started listing off the issues that he's got he's experiencing. And man, that was me. I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, this was me. It just, a few years ago. And he asked for some advice, and I said, look, I'm no health expert. I can't give medical advice, but the carnivore diet alleviated my SIBO completely. And then so hearing somebody having a bit of hope, man,
Yeah.
because that is massive. Just having hope alone when you're in that, because when you've hit the wall and you don't know where to go, man, you feel like the world's just sort of caved in on you. No one understands. No friends can understand. The doctors don't. You don't feel like the doctors care. But it's until you start talking to people that have either been through it, who or are going through it. It's like that's when you're like, oh, Thank the Lord, because I've actually got hope that this thing that's like ruining my life, that has debilitated me, could be potentially gone, And so
Mm.
it's yeah, it's man, it's been such a journey, hey.
Yeah, no, I love it, Scotty. Well, I mean, you think
Mm,
about it, Michaela really influenced you. And now, somebody can learn from you about, they're suffering with their SIBO. They can hear that you've done the carnivore diet. You've completely removed all the symptoms of SIBO. You don't have the problem anymore.
mm,
Um, it's so powerful how we can pass it on. And,
yeah.
the more that people share their story, the more it's just going to reinforce all these things. Like I had a girl asking me this week, she's got bad SIBO. She's only 18. And she's saying to me, I'm pretty sure carnivore can fix it. And I'm saying, yeah, I'm pretty sure it can too. And she's saying, well, can you guarantee me that if I do carnivore for a month, it's going to be gone? And I'm thinking, well, look, there's no guarantees in life, but here's all these testimonials of people who've had SIBO and it's gone away in the carnivore diet. Why don't you give it a go? The worst thing that can happen is that you improve your health overall. The
Mm,
best thing that can happen is that all your symptoms go away, the problem is completely reversed, and you can just get on with your life and enjoy your life.
hmm
Uh, but it does require people jumping into this. And, I thought it was interesting how you said, okay, I'll try carnivore for a week and that should solve all my problems. And
hmm
then I can go back to doing the very thing that has caused these problems in the first place. So I'd be curious to know, Scotty, how has your mind shift and perspective on health changed since that period of your life where you thought that, 1 week of carnivore ought to fix this?
No, it's such a good point, man. You've hit the nail on the head there, because that is, I think, a lot of people's perspective, where they just want to do it for a certain amount of time so they can fix whatever issues they can. They can go back to living a normal life.
Yeah.
That what is that normal life? What is even considered as normal now is atrocious, man. It is absolutely atrocious. You go to a cafe and you see the majority of options they have available in their little cabinet, pastries and croissants, and they got burgers, they got all sorts of things like that, that, man, are going to destroy your gut. You know they're going to well, I know they're going to destroy my gut,
Yeah. Same with me.
so it honestly, man, I think 3 months, like, I think a month, definitely don't do just a week. I reckon a month of carnivore is great, but I think, look, just really try for 3 months and see how you feel after that. Because when I did that, because when I first did my carnivore stint, 90 days, that was it. And then, like Will saying, I was going to go back to a normal way of eating. So I did that 90 days.
Mm.
And then on the 3 month mark, I thought I would treat myself. And I had a coconut water and just two pieces of sushi. Sushi,
Mm.
that's not too bad. Sushi. It was avocado sushi, nori, rice, avocado. That's all that it was. No soy, no, none of that crap.
Mhm.
The next day, my skin flared up, my joints flared up, my gut was all over the place, and I just felt I had brain fog. I couldn't think clearly. I was anxious, and I hadn't felt like that in 3 months. And that was a full reference point of what my health could be forever, what I could maintain and continue. And so it was just obviously a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. I said, look, this is just how I live now. This is my lifestyle. And I must say the cravings are hard to get through if you are addicted to sugar and carbohydrates. It is a difficult process, but you just sort of got to white knuckle it, bite down, and get through them, because they will disappear completely,
Yeah.
gone completely, So I feel like if you can get through that and you can just stick to eating, a meat only diet, look, you're not going to feel, you will never have felt this good, and then you'll be like, okay, well, if this is as good as I can feel, I'm going to keep this going, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to live at that optimal level? So for me, my mind shifted in the sense of I realized what real food was, and I realized 80% of my diet was fake foods, and foods that potentially contain defense chemicals, that because they don't want to be eaten either. And so I just don't look, I don't mind what people eat. If people want to eat a salad, you do your thing. But I just don't see that as food anymore. I do not see that as food anymore. And when I have a big steak on my plate, I get excited every meal when I've got that steak there. And because my body craves it so much. And people say, don't you get sick of eating only meat? And I said, get the hell away from me. There's no way, because that is what my body craves, because it is what we're supposed to be eating, you know? So once you let your body go, you go back to the intelligence of your body and you can let that guide you. This is easy stuff. It is so simple. It is so simple, man. And so I'm just thankful that I don't see that stuff as food anymore. It's not an option. It's I can walk by the bakery, smell the brownies or the fresh baked croissants, and I don't even like, oh, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, it's not even there anymore, you know? And I can enjoy the smell. I'm like, oh, that smells lovely. And then keep moving on, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that I have trained my body to know what real food is.
Yeah, I think that is so well said. After a period of time, you start to feel so good that you just want to reinforce that. And that actually becomes pleasurable. It's like, oh, I want to wake up tomorrow and have even less inflammation. I want to feel really energetic. I want to just keep these good times going. And it's like a positive loop where where things get better and better. And
Mm,
as you're saying about how you start to view food differently, I'm the same as you. I view food so much differently now than I did, say, 5 years ago. When I
mm,
see things like a salad or I see things like a muffin or something like that, that, used to deem as food and being pretty harmless, your perspective can really shift. And mine's shifted towards thinking those things are foods of commerce. Those things are not natural things that you would normally eat as a human. These are things that have been conveniently packaged up, shipped across the world, shipped a long way out from farms, grown in these really protective environments. Like you don't find a lettuce in nature.
mhm,
You occasionally find fruit, but only for a short window of the year. How are you going to get enough grains to make something like a muffin? Like
mm,
these things just aren't natural human foods, and healthy people can tolerate an amount of them. Their health isn't going to be ideal, but they can get through and it won't bother them. But people
mm,
who are having major health issues, like the symptoms that you were talking about before, Scotty, they simply can't handle any of these foreign foods of commerce, these
mhm,
things that are made to make money. They're
mhm,
not made to nourish humans. They
mhm,
only exist because humans find them pleasurable to eat. They'll buy them, and there's nice big margins on these things like, boxes of cereal. But they have repercussions, and some people maybe won't notice them and won't ever put their poor health down to food, and other people will get absolutely shafted like you did with your health, and it takes
yeah.
these big events to actually turn things around. uh,
And honestly, man, sometimes, you know, because a big thing's the autoimmunity. The autoimmune issues are a big thing that pop up, but sometimes, man, it can be way worse than that. And some people can be eating the heavily based, ultra processed food diet. And man, one day they're cruising along, the next minute, all of a sudden they've had a stroke or they've had a heart attack
that's
or they
right.
got the cancer diagnosis. And it's like out of the blue. So I am actually so thankful that my body is so sensitive that I have all these, small time in the grand scheme of things, these small time reactions that it keeps me away from that, because I know if I didn't have these little things that would pop up that led to a bigger thing, man, I would still be living that way. I've got an addictive personality too, so it's just a part of yeah, my personality. So I know I would still be eating that way, and I know one day you would have that serious event happen that could potentially change yours and your loved one's life forever.
100%. The heart attack hits, the
Mm,
dementia hits, the cancer hits, whatever it is. Oh, it's come out of nowhere because I've been doing okay. My health's just been slowly declining because I'm getting older.
mm,
But yeah, you're right. That's sort of, yeah, Phil Escott, he suffered from really bad autoimmune conditions, including arthritis. And he wrote a book called Arthritis, The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. And it's that same idea, like having this canary in the coal mine where you actually become aware of the damage you're doing
Yeah.
is something to be thankful for. And
Yeah.
once you are thankful for it, then you can just double down on looking after yourself. So
Oh, hands down.
as far as looking after yourself goes, Scotty, you're not just carnivore, you're a strict lion, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't look, once in a blue moon, I'll have some chicken or something, or if I'm in that situation and there's bacon there and I've got no other choices, that kind of stuff, I'll dabble, but it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't, it's fatty red meat. So whether that's beef, lamb, venison, that's what I will like primarily stick to. And like I can't remember the last time I even had lamb. I'm eating beef
Yeah.
just constantly. Yeah, so beef, salt, and water, cooking in tallow.
So, what sort of cuts of beef do you buy?
Well, I've been going all out and I've just been buying ribeyes constantly.
Yeah,
So,
nice. Yeah,
but because I find it's a good portion size too with the
yeah,
fat and the protein. I feel like it's a perfect little package, a good ribeye. But if before that, before I got on my little ribeye stint, chuck, I was just eating the
nice.
cheapest cut that I could get because chuck is nice and fatty as well, and it's cheap. Where the ones I'm buying is $20 a kilo, and
Nice.
so yeah, I was basically living off chuck for months and months and months, and you know, people say, "Oh, it's chewy," or "It doesn't taste as good as it." It's like it's not even a thing. It
Yeah.
nourishes me. So I don't even think about that stuff. But now I'm treating myself with ribeyes every day, so maybe that's changed. But
When you were doing the chuck, were you just like putting it in a hot pan with tallow and basically like frying it up? Yeah.
just frying it. No slow cook because slow cooking, that has been a bit of a nightmare for me with histamine issues, on this journey. So
That's
bone
common as
broth,
well. Like,
yeah,
I want
bone
people
broth
to know that.
destroys me.
Yeah.
Yeah, bone broth destroys me. Slow cooked meats, smoked meats even don't go well. So aged meats, if I let the meat sort of sit too long, or if it's been sitting in the butchers for too long,
Mm.
I have like just don't feel too good. Um, but yeah, man. So like basically chuck and ribeye is what I'm sort of living off at the moment. And I'll have some lamb loin chops or some cutlets every now and again. But I feel, man, even with that, like I feel good. I feel good with lamb, but beef, I just feel exceptional. I just
Yeah.
feel absolutely incredible. I don't know what it is, how it works, because I couldn't tolerate beef when I first started the carnivore diet. I couldn't eat beef whatsoever. I lived off lamb
Interesting.
for it was about 6 months. It was just a local butcher. I was just getting lamb from them. So literally 10 minutes up the road, they were being slaughtered on site and everything. So it was very as local as you can get. And I think that was a big factor because obviously there's that you know would it how does Cruz explain it where the sun shines on that animal? It's like
Yeah.
that it's that barcode that goes from the sun to the animal, and you're eating that, which you're getting that same sun in that same area. It's like quite complicated biophysics that I'm still trying to figure out, but I think that was a big part. And yes, I only could tolerate lamb out of all the meats for like a good 6 months. And then I slowly started to have beef again. And now here I am just eating basically beef all the time.
Are you a IMAD guy or 2 meals a day? How does it work for you?
So 2 meals a day kind of is my sweet spot after listening to a lot of Dr. Max Gullhane's stuff on chrononutrition and our chronobiology, eating to our circadian biology. I've changed it up because I would fast until like 2 p.m. and then I'd have a steak. But after listening to a few ideas that Max shared with me, I'm eating sort of and it goes into like the quantum health sort of stuff, but I'm eating around like before UVA rise, or not too long after UVA rise, and then I'll have my second meal by about 2 p.m. and then that's me. Then I'm sort of fasting, but from the other way. So I'll eat early and then I'll fast for the rest of the day, rather than fasting for the morning and then eating towards the late afternoon.
Nice.
And I've been
How's that
experimenting with, sorry,
how's
I've
that
been
affecting your sleep, Scotty?
well, I'm sleeping a lot better. I do get a little bit hungry before I go to like before I'm going to bed. But other than that, I feel like I'm sleeping pretty like great, a lot better than eating closer to bedtime, because that really sort of throws me out a little bit, eating closer to bedtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm finding, because this has only been the last couple, maybe 3, 4 months I've been trying this, so it's still sort of like a bit of a new experiment for me, and just getting out of old patterns and stuff like that. So I do see the benefits of fasting of a morning. It's a lot easier than fasting of an afternoon, evening. But I think overall, I feel a lot better overall. But also, I just to touch on this with the fasting stuff.
Hmm.
So I did a 76-hour fast maybe a month and a half ago, right? And I thought it would be a good idea. And it was also a test for my body to see how I reacted. So during this fast, I decided I'm going to have black coffee. And I brought black coffee back in. And I had been off coffee for quite some time. And initially, like, because I was super sensitive to it. And, like I was just having one. But, and then like that caffeine pull grabs you and pulls you in. Then all of a sudden I was having a couple, and like I got on like day two, and I think, yeah, first day I had one, second day of fasting because I just wanted a bit of a crutch, and I got to day two and I was like, yeah, having two. Day three I was having like three coffees, and I felt the difference of how much it didn't agree with me. I was super stoked with my body that it was actually quite resilient, and I've healed a lot. So some of the reactions I would have in the past didn't happen. So I was like, it was a good little experiment to see there. But then the talons got in, man. And then after the fast, the black coffee kept coming. And I noticed these negative health effects popping up, but I couldn't even stop myself, man. I couldn't even stop myself. And talking about like that addictive personality, because younger I was addicted to, drugs and alcohol and this kind of stuff. And it was almost like that, man. It it felt like uh, an illegal heavy drug that I was consuming because of the feeling it was giving me. And even though I didn't feel good, my joints started hurting, skin flares up. I just kept pushing through, and I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. When it was so clear, it was so clear. And not to mention, I got my bloods done, and I was actually talking to Chafee about this, and my thyroid stimulating hormone, which was usually around the 1.4 to 1.7, shot up to 8.8, which you see in Hashimoto's patients. And so I believe because I think fasting is great for us as well. And that was the first time I fasted that long. So I'm sure there was, my body was, sort of like, holy shit, what the hell is going on here, man? But combining that with the black coffee, it just threw everything, man. I've never had issues with my thyroid, and it just shot up through the roof, man. And then also my what's it called? Is it the sex binding for testosterone? It's like SB HG or something. I can't remember. Anyway, people would know if they've done their testosterone levels. That also shot up, and so I've got great testosterone overall, total testosterone, but my body isn't using it properly because of this other element that is like shot up. So it was so interesting, man. Like
Mm.
seeing how I reacted, having black coffee because I know it's a big thing. It's a big thing for in the carnivore world. People say they're all for it. Some people say that get rid of it. And so it was good to introduce it again. But man, I've got rid of it again and I feel so much better. So much better. Like joints feel better. My skin's gotten better again. And so it's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer for me. So some people that are on the fence and they're saying, "Oh, I don't know if it causes issues." It's probably causing you issues, and you're just stuck in that addiction because there's some people that they don't even need to think about it, and they're like, "Oh, I can drink coffee, and it's not even a thing." But if you're second guessing it, it's probably causing you issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of denial in the carnivore world about the effects of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it's fascinating that you chose to put it in, particularly with your history of autoimmune
Yeah,
and gut issues. But I
yeah.
feel like you were already, how people say you've only got a certain amount of willpower, and
Mm-hmm.
to do like I find fasting hard as well, and I haven't done a 3-day fast before, but I'm sure I'll do it at some point this year. You're sort of building yourself up to a 3-day fast, and you can focus on that, but then you just let something in. You're like, oh, I can cope. Okay, I'm going to let go of the ribeyes for 3 days, but I'm going to bring in coffee as my little treat. And it's like,
Dude,
oh,
saying
so
it, I
close, Scotty, so close.
I feel like such a goose, even just talking about it. And I was thinking like, oh no, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But no, it's
No,
like
no, I'm glad you brought it up.
got to
It's
talk
good.
about it because it is so
Yeah.
real, man. It is so real. And no matter if you're 3 years in, like I am on the carnivore, man, you can slip at any moment. You can
Yeah,
slip
that's
at any
true.
moment if you like sort of, oh yeah, just entertain it a little bit. And yeah, man. So it was a big learning curve. And to see my blood work, that was a shock.
Yeah.
And yeah, like because the GP that I got it done at, who's not a carnivore GP, I just wanted to get blood work done, so I just went to a GP, and she was like, "Oh wow, have you got Hashimoto's?" And I'm like, "What? No, no, I've never been officially diagnosed with Hashimoto's." And then she broke down some of these numbers, and I was like, "Holy shit, man! Like this is what I'm dealing with." Well, yeah, but hey, I lived and I learned and I experienced it,
Yeah.
and it's good to have that reference point again of not feeling how I do now. So I'm glad I did it and I don't regret it because now it's like, oh, yep, there was that reminder. Like after that 3 months of doing carnivore and I had the sushi, reminder, yes, stay on the path. You know what optimal health feels like.
Mhm.
That's what the aim is.
Yeah. It's often those things that you can almost convince yourself are okay that are what take you off track, and
Mm,
that's why I think the keto diet is just such a screw up for so many people
mm,
because there are so many keto products which are just laden full of all this crap. And some of them are things like cookies or protein bars or all sorts of things that just open you up, to potential harm. And maybe for somebody as strict as you, the thing that's tempting is like the black coffee or sweet or incorporating bacon and eggs or chicken or something like that, where you're like, oh, but it's carnivore, but it's from an animal, yet you still know it's going to cause major issues.
yeah,
Um,
that's it, man. It doesn't matter if it's still carnivore or that it says keto or that it says carnivore friendly. It does not matter. You know what your body agrees with. Like coming to terms with my body feels better not having butter. And I love butter.
yeah,
Butter is amazing, but I feel better with tallow. And so, okay, well, I'm just going to use tallow then, But even though butter is, and I'll praise butter till the end of my days, but I feel better with tallow, and we can't deny ourselves. And especially with this processed keto crap, man, it's insane. It's just another thing the big food companies have jumped onto because it's
trend.
become popular, and same with like a lot of carnivore companies that I'm all for making carnivore products because the more that the focus on carnivore, the word's going to get out there. So I'm all
Yeah.
for it. But I've tried some carnivore products and they've got things like apple cider vinegar in them. And here I am thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be fine. And I'll eat it. And it's like, oh, my gut is just all over the shop. And it's like, I can't have it, man. I got to stick to real, I think that's real food, but I got to stick to real food. I got to stick to steaks, and there's just no denying that. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably shouldn't call yourself a carnivore product if you've got vinegar in it. I don't know. It's tricky. Yeah. Don't know whether maybe it should be carnivore friendly or you just should be a bit more transparent because yeah, things like that can cause big issues.
Yeah, and,
Um,
and and that's it, man. And like for somebody in my shoes, when you sort of you're excited that this new carnivore products popped up and you
yes,
eat it, then it takes you 3 days to recover just from eating a meat stick or something, and you're like, ah, okay, well that wasn't really worth it. But look, I feel like we've all got to learn personally as well, and it's like the coffee thing as well. If you haven't cut coffee out and you're carnivore, chances are you don't know how good you'll feel yet. You know, if you haven't cut the coffee out yet and done just a month, done a month off coffee to feel your natural energy levels, to feel your natural hunger signals, to not have any form of gut distress, any form, even just a little bit of, oh, that gave me a bit of a pain, get rid of all that and you'll see, man.
100%. Yeah, it makes a huge difference, as you say. And for things like anxiety, for your sleep, hunger signals, like you were saying, everything, joint pain, just try quitting the coffee for at least 30 days. After maybe 2 weeks, the addiction will be gone. So then you
Mm-hmm.
can start to really enjoy life without coffee. And
Yeah.
if you can convince yourself that it doesn't make too much of a difference, then you can go back on it. But definitely 30 days.
Yeah.
Um,
Hands.
Scotty, I want to shift gears a bit to some of your content.
Mm-hmm.
When are the supermarkets going to ban you, mate?
Dude, I am so surprised I have
Yeah,
not been kicked out yet because you can scroll through my Instagram now and see how many supermarket videos, and I've been doing them for a long time now.
yeah.
And man, I do switch them up. I do keep them on their
Okay,
toes.
I was going to ask that. I was like, are you going back to the same one, or are you sort of like you're hitting a different one each time?
Yeah, because I'm here in Lismore in the Northern Rivers, right? And in Lismore, we've got two Woolies and we've got one Coles. But then if you go up the road to Bar, 10-minute drive, you've got another Woolies and another Coles. And so we've got a bit of a choice, but I usually just mix up a couple in Lismore. But I am surprised I haven't been kicked out yet, but I am very respectful.
Okay.
So like for example, I'm at the plant-based milks, right? I'm here at almond milk, and I'm
Scene of the
filming.
crime.
Yeah, just picture it. I'm here filming myself talking absolute smack about oat milk or almond milk or something. And then like I see somebody coming up the aisle who are coming to the plant-based milks, and I'll stop filming and I'll just like pretend that I'm like looking at the back of the carton and all sort of
Soy
stuff.
milk or oat milk today?
Yeah, yeah. And then I see somebody come and get their soy milk, load up with like 4 cartons, and then they go. And and then I'll start filming. So like I'm not bothering them and I'm not judging them. I don't If you want to drink soy milk, drink your soy milk. That's I don't care. But I'm still going to make my content, but I'll do it without being a bit of an asshole. So I could do it with people around and it would probably be great content and have reactions and but so I do it in a right sort of way where I make sure the aisles cleared out or pretty clear and do that. But I have had a few staff members sort
Mm,
of just like eye me off and then go back to their job, then eye me off, go back
right.
to their job, and then because sometimes it'll take me like 40 minutes to get out what I'm saying because I'm waiting and then filming and then I stuff up some words or I don't say it correctly. So I've got to do it again and again, and it gets a bit like long in the tooth. And so when this supermarket employee sees this, they walk up to me and they just walk by looking at me. They just give me the eyes and I'm just like, hi, g'day. And then they keep walking. No one has ever said anything to me yet. So I think my approach works and I think that I've figured out the right etiquette of shitting on
Yeah.
supermarkets. And so yeah, that I haven't been banned yet.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, and I
Thank
think
you.
you're particularly good at communicating things like seed oils, which you go to the supermarket and all these packaged products have seed oils in them.
Mm.
Even some of like the tuna that's apparently in olive oil, you have a look on the back and it's like it's a blend. It's like
Yeah.
90% rapeseed or sunflower oil with a little bit of olive oil.
Yeah.
Like this is a total killer, and it should be called out.
Oh,
But fortunately, we're starting to see the tide change a little bit.
oh yeah, yeah, massively, massively. Thanks to people like RFK. Also, like, big props to Paul Saladino, who's been doing
Yes.
this for years, years and years, man. Um, but in yeah, on the seed oils in all the products, most people don't know unless they take the time and just play lucky dip, walk down the aisle and just grab a product and have a look at the back. Most times it's going to contain some form of seed oil, whether it's canola or sunflower or safflower, whatever it is. And that goes for the health food aisle as well. All
Hmm.
these like healthy products that have the healthy marketing all over them saying they're really good for you. But then they've got sunflower oil in them. And if you don't know about seed oils, people are going to think, oh, sunflower oil, that doesn't sound too bad.
Oh,
It's from
sunflowers are pretty. They're nice.
sunflowers, And so, because I find that's a big one that they put in health food, sunflower oil. Because I
Yeah,
feel like
true.
even just the word, it's just a little bit deceptive.
100%. But it's not coming from the flower, it's coming from the seeds of the
Mm,
sunflower. And
yeah.
they're being ground up by by the millions in a
Hmm.
very industrial process that involves bleach and other chemicals. There ain't nothing natural about deriving fats from sunflower seeds.
Oh my God. Like whenever, ever in history did we ever have that opportunity? Whenever would our ancestors like to get like even a cup of sunflower oil, just imagine how many seeds that is. And some people, man, I don't know the numbers, but you can just imagine the amount of the seed oils that people are consuming because it is in everything. And so it builds up, that seed oil bucket just sort of fills up within you, and you don't even know it because you haven't even looked at the back of the package, or you didn't really think that when you went to your fish and chip shop that they use canola oil to cook everything in. You don't think about this sort of
No,
stuff.
no, you don't think so. You think you're just buying fish and potato chips, but really you're buying a whole cup full of seed oils too.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I remember when I would eat just, like chips, like hot chips, at a pub. Every time I couldn't figure out why. Every time I would eat them, dude, I would get this pressure in my face. I'd feel like the blood would rush to my head, and I felt like I had this like layer of something under my skin of my face, and just like pushing, like this pressure pushing outwards. And dude, I observed that for so long. And every pub I would go to, I would eat these hot chips, and I felt it, man, just straight to my head after about maybe, a good handful or two handfuls of these chips. And yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is going on there, but it's
Hmm.
not good. It
It's
is
not
not
good.
good. It's not a positive reaction you should be having with the food that you're consuming. Because I know when I eat a steak, a nice big fatty ribeye, man, the only thing I feel is bliss. The only thing I feel is so good. Unless I eat too much fat, and then my you might get a bit of gut upset. But man, like it's a no-brainer that your body speaks to you when, hey, we probably shouldn't be eating this, or hey, no, this is what we should be eating. It's but I just
Yeah.
remember, like, what is this pressure? Am I about to have a stroke? Like,
And as soon as you go carnivore and you remove a lot of these distracting signals that are coming in from things like carbs, plants, caffeine, alcohol, that just create this big kind of like numb ball of sort of averageness. Once you strip that away, and then if you do reintroduce something, you start to notice it much more. It's
yeah.
like you with the caffeine, like you could just
Hmm.
feel something wasn't right. Yet sure you're a coffee drinker before,
Oh,
along with eating all sorts of other crap, and you can't identify what an effect it's having on you.
yeah, yeah. You don't know until yeah, you've got that reference point. And that's why it's so important to give yourself the opportunity. Like, I don't know, I can't stress that enough. Just try whatever it is. Just cut that particular food out, or, yeah, just try the carnivore for a month, or, what I think 3 months. Just try it, and you'll be so surprised. And hey, if you get to that 3 months and you're like, nah, no, I'm gonna go back to my bagels, and I'm gonna go back to getting Maccas. And it's like, dude, all right, you do your thing, you
Your
do your thing.
call.
But who's gonna do that? Who is gonna do
Yeah,
that?
100%. No, I mean, I've spoken with so many carnivores who have done exactly what you've described. Okay, I'm going to do it for 3 months. I'm going to see how I feel, and then I'll reintroduce things. And invariably, they don't reintroduce things because they're like, I just want to keep this going. I'm off all my medication. I'm losing weight. I feel amazing. I want to keep going. The people that do kind of yo-yo and flip-flop, every single one of them has said to me, oh yeah, carnivore works. Oh yeah, I've never felt as good as I did when I was on the carnivore diet. I just got sidetracked with Christmas or whatever, or my
Mm,
birthday or what have you. But they know, they're like, well, I have felt like that. I felt that clean feeling. I felt the zero inflammation, the no bloating. I felt clear-headed, brain fog gone, depression gone, and I was losing body fat. I know that's the way. I
yeah,
haven't had anyone say to me, "Oh, this whole carnivore thing's bullshit." I felt the
yeah.
same when I went carnivore. It's like still waiting for someone to tell me that, but no.
The only thing I've seen is the high cholesterol. That is the only thing someone will bring
Right.
up and say, "Oh, this is bad, man. My LDL's shot up." And I'm like, "Well, what's your triglycerides at, and where's your HDL at?" "Oh, that ratio is wonderful. Don't worry about your LDL."
Yeah, exactly right.
Like, it's just another thing. Like, as you were saying that, and all these, because I'm sure you get it constantly, bro. These success stories that are just coming at you, man. It is so funny that we are eating the foods that we were told to completely avoid: fat, red meat, salt, all the things that we said were going to kill us. That is all we're eating, and we're
It's
thriving.
making us healthy.
We are thriving. And then this is where that little argument, oh, but you've got high cholesterol now. And it's like, yeah, but look at this research that's coming out saying that it's protective, and that it's attributed to longevity. And where did it even come from in the first place? These reference points. And you look at these, a lot of studies that are around cholesterol are funded by pharmaceutical companies that make statins to lower
Exactly.
cholesterol.
Yeah,
Like,
it makes no sense. It's not even correlated.
yeah,
And it's starting to come out that people with heart disease have lower cholesterol than your average population. So the whole
yeah,
thing is just completely back to front. Cholesterol is some sort of scapegoat. Your
hmm,
brain is 25% cholesterol.
yeah,
It makes no sense. Um, all
mm,
right. So for anyone who wants to see Scotty in action live, he's going to be performing and emceeing Regenerate. Regenerate is coming to is touring Australia essentially. We're going on tour, Scotty. We're going
we're
on
going on
tour. We're
tour.
taking Dr. Anthony Chafee. We're taking Gary and Belinda Fetke, Dr. Max Goulhane, Natalie West, carnivore psychotherapist, and Rachel Ward, an incredible actor, filmmaker, and now regenerative farmer. We're going on tour. 22nd of March, we're going to be in Sydney, and 23rd of March, we're going to be in Melbourne. Scotty's the MC. Scotty also MC'd the event in Albury last year and brought a lot of energy and a lot of entertainment.
That was a cracker.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? So, mate, I
That
can't
was,
wait. It's gonna be
and
a great couple of days.
I'm looking so forward to it, bro. We are, like, I feel like we're going to be rock stars on tour, except we're living the complete opposite lifestyles of rock stars.
Yeah, yeah. It's that we're like rock stars, but no blue light once the sun goes down.
Yeah, yeah, dude. We're gonna be in bed by 8:30. Blue light blockers, bro. Steaks only.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No alcohol. Yeah, it'll be a wild ride. But no, we're on a mission to help people get healthy. So honestly, I find that more fun if we were going on some sort of like, at least I know I'm going to feel good this whole tour, and we're going to be surrounded by amazing people.
100%, man. Like the people you just mentioned who are on board, dude, you couldn't get a better lineup. This is going to be incredible. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to bring the energy yet again, and meet everyone who comes out. So it's going to be awesome.
It'll be epic. All right,
Mm,
Scotty Brizzle, 2 years on, we are rekindled on a YouTube and a podcast video. Mate, it's been a big
beautiful.
2 years, and you're
Mm.
killing it. I love watching your content. You
Thank
are
you.
officially a supermarket terrorist. You're becoming a bit of a celebrity. I want to see stand-up shows combining real nutrition, real health, the truth with comedy. And
Mm.
you're the man to do this. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for doing an amazing job. And thank you for your time today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, bro. Always a pleasure chatting, dude. And again, thank you so much for the hard work you're doing and giving felt people like myself and other carnivores who are making content a platform and getting that out there, man. Because some of these videos are going bananas, man.
They are
They're
going bananas, mate. There's some of them are. We're getting tens of thousands of likes on the videos, not to mention like, millions of views. So it's
yeah.
it's definitely getting out there.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. So let's all just keep working together and yeah, get the word out there. And because, man, as I said at the start of the podcast, all someone needs is a bit of hope. And so if we can give a bit of hope, man, another way, just another alternative, it's an option. It could be an option for you. I think that's it. The job's done.
100%. Thanks,
Mm.
Scotty.
All right, thanks, bro.